Okay, so webinar one day late because we had some plans, but for August 12th. So we'll start with some analysis. We'll start with the Bitcoin here. And just a quick note that I zoom out here, we were trading in this down channel here, right? So this was obvious that we were going to see some rejection on there. It's looking rather bullish from our point of view, both of ours. So we ideally are looking for it to break out of this small range, which it's just been bouncing there for days. Break out either the upside or the downside, but we would want to be buying at, this is the July open. So if we move to the monthly, and that's a great, also it's this is where the move started off. So that'll be a great point where there's a lot of orders still waiting. So we should be able to see a nice bounce there. So if we look at the monthly, you can see how that
exactly. Yeah, on a monthly level, it looks very, very sharp.
Is a perfect bounce, right? That's what we're going to look for.
Yeah. I mean, like, projection wise, we should definitely see 13K, if not even way higher, 14 and 50K regions. Breaking a way more higher high, setting it off there, but definitely, like what Hunter mentioned, for that nice July open over there, that'll be a nice place to buy. However, slowly staggering in the buys currently. I am currently in a position personally as well. But yeah, looking for a very nice bullish momentum that's to come for crypto.
Cool. So let's maybe we'll talk about the NASDAQ here. Just quickly note that this past week, I don't have much to say on it, but it has been dumping. It completely obliterated, I think, 2-3 months and 3 days. And then this was obvious that it would bounce right back up. And we are looking to hold currently this order block here. If you can see, I can make it clearer. We need to hold this order block in order to continue our bullish momentum, and then possibly retest these highs again before there's a lot of talk about recession, and this is maybe a point that they could reject at 7,800. So what's really important is this blue order block right now.
Right.
So it would be wise to be buying right now and then selling the top of the range or this pink line. Stop loss is pretty obvious, right below here, right? Dixie.
Yeah, Dixie is looking. It was aligning very, very well from the past 1 or 2 weeks that we've been talking about it. Dixie last week was very, very bearish. Of course, coming off with the fundamental on the trade war that's currently going on between the U.S. and China and all that. So the U.S. did fall off over there. It dropped.
Your microphone there.
However, we do look for a bearish movement continuous for the Dixie. It is looking like a very much strong momentum downwards, as y'all could see over there. This is the 4-hour.
Yeah, this is the 4-hour. I think there's two options. We come back up and test that and then come down, or we just plummet back down here.
Yeah, shoot back down. Again, because like this week as well, we have a lot of fundamental news that's going to come for the US dollar. So that would have a lot of an effect as to how this could play out.
So we can talk about since you mentioned it now, let's look at the news that's actually going to be affecting it. Today is Monday, so since we are doing this one day later than usual, tomorrow there is a consumer price index that could affect it. So we'll be watching it at 5:30 PST time.
Right.
And depending on if the actual is greater than the forecast, it might be good for it, but this could cause a plummet, right? And then there's another one. is the retail sales on Thursday. So Tuesday and Thursday, we should see the decision for the Dixie, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if maybe we'll be watching the Aussie employment rate change, but I'm not usually trading at this time. I don't know about you.
Yeah, so the even the odd employment rate will be somewhat of a fundamental news to be trading. However, again, it's pretty much the same way how we work with our strategy during these fundamental times. If it does have a good scalp opportunity, of course, we will take it with the buy and sell stop. But correlating to our Dixie. If the Dixie is very bearish, odd USD is looking like a bullish momentum.
Mm.
So if we do see this continuous of a bearish movement on the dollar index, then we could scalp for some buys during this 6:30 p.m. 6:30 p.m. I believe it's PST on your side. So
Yeah, so 9:30 for you. Luckily, it's on a different day than these two guys, just because that might make things a little crazy for odd USD.
yeah,
So Euro USD, we can just say quickly, basically the opposite of the Dixie. We see the exact same pattern forming. This is
right.
those highs that we would see likely see a bounce off of, just like the Dixie. We're bouncing off this blue box.
Mhm.
And then possibly testing these highs if we do get up there, which because of this V bottom that absolutely destroyed everything in its way, it's probably pretty unlikely that we come back down anytime soon.
Yeah.
You want to talk about the
Yeah.
pound
So
and how terrible it
the
is?
pound cable. So the pound has been doing quite some bearish movement. So if you guys have heard about the recent news on Boris, so like lately there have been very bearish news coming off from the whole fundamental news on Boris and Brexit. So he still is pushing out for a no Brexit deal. That itself has a very bearish movement on all the pound across the board. So currently, if you could see on the weekly level, right over there, we pretty much are at a stage that this state, like the current price action that we are at, has never been, tested since 2016, right? So this is a 2-year low region that we are currently at. Mind you that if we do continue to have a very um, weak momentum for the pound across the board. Again, fundamentally speaking, as well as how Boris is moving currently, we will see a much further downside for the GBP dollar. Um, we could see it break this 2-year low and make an all-time low, which is something very huge, and that would carry out a lot of liquidity as well, and bringing it into the market. Again, we will see how it plays off at this region over here. It's going to be something that we will look at very sharp. But yeah, let's see how it plays out again fundamentally, because this week, the next coming weeks actually is going to be very, very, a very volatile market, in accordance to where all the price action is currently standing.
On a smaller time frame for this, it does look like it is bouncing up here a little bit. So I'd like to see it come up and test these again before we come back down. Cool. UJ is a very similar situation. If I go to let's go to a
You did
daily so you can see the
completely,
bigger picture. Or no, let's go weekly.
yeah, UJ is completely falling off there.
If you notice, the last time it tested these levels, it completely wicked back up. This time it's not happening. It's coming down at a gradual pace. Took us 3 weeks to get down here. So it's very healthy of a dump, I think. And there's not much reason to believe that it's going to bounce off of this for a third time. Maybe a bounce up to here.
At most, yes, we could see a
And then
nice bearish pennant over there, but
these are weekly candles again. So if we're talking about just this week, I would like to just wait on this guy because it just keeps dumping and there's no reason to buy yet, right?
exactly. But still, like, yeah, that just shows like where the current market conditions are. A lot of these pairs are currently literally by the cliff, right? So UJ could as well make a whole new lows on the higher time frames, of course, looking at it from a higher time frame perspective, which would yield if UJ does continue to break to a lower low, that's going to yield a lot of sell opportunities on the lower time frames. So look for that as well.
So I've talked about a few of these in the Discord already, just with photos and explaining them to you guys. But UCAD, you see this this fake rally, I suppose you want to call it, where it came up and tested these levels. It came all the way back down, showing absolutely no help for the bulls, come right back down into the consolidation level. And so we're likely to see this come back and break the trend afterwards. What would have been healthy for the bulls, where we would have wanted to buy, is if this bounce here, if this level got respected,
Right.
but it really just popped right back down, right? So if it went up, then we could be bullish on this, but I'm rather bearish until this, which looks like an explosive move. Let me get rid of these first. This blue box here, it exploded out of here. So again, there's lots of orders waiting.
Yeah.
And we should be able to long in that box, right?
Right. Yeah, I mean, there's a good liquidity supply zone over there as well. So you'll see how that one plays out. But across the board, we'll see how the dollar tends to take its position as well as the current trade wars because it could have a very huge impact on you
Sure.
kind of.
Yes, and because we are bearish on the Dixie, this doesn't give us a whole lot of room to come down because it seems rather close compared to how bearish we are on the Dixie. So we might just break this, but I would like to see a little pump here.
Right.
And then I actually do want to find UCAD all the way down here in one of these lower blue boxes before I start to get really bullish.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the greater scheme of things, you can see we're kind of in the middle of a giant range, right? We're dead
Right.
center. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's just like the other pairs that we mentioned a while ago. Like for example, GBP USD. If the pound, I wanted to mention as well for the cables that if GBP USD is weak and the dollar is strong across the boards, then that's gonna be leading it to break onwards more further downside because that should give a very high confirmation that this is definitely continuing way more further downside. But let's say if the dollar and the pound are at one level, as I think it was yesterday, or sorry, it was rather today during the New York session, the London session, the pound was actually fairly strong. Um, Gave a few buy scalp setups. I'm pretty sure Hunter as well posted it on the Discord. Um, so yeah, that gave a good buy, some good buy opportunities. But yeah, again, we should look for a further downside though for that part. Do you want to discuss your S&P?
We just talked about the Nasdaq, which is essentially the same as the S&P, right?
Yeah. Okay, we already covered that. Cool.
Yeah. I'll talk about Swissy.
Yeah, yeah, somewhat similar. Again, same thing. In the sense of a correlation and the correlating pairs towards the Dixie.
Yeah, maybe there's not too much to talk about at this point, but we did get a short call in actually that's doing well
Yeah.
um, right now that I think we shorted this bounce up here. Yeah, I don't think there's anything to talk about as of now. We should just wait until it shows more um, trend change or something that we can start buying up. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's about it. Unless you wanted to talk about some other pairs. Um,
No, that's about it, I guess, for now. We went roughly over the Forex factory, not fundamentally to this week. It's um, again, it's mostly just the pound as well as the dollar. Main focus, the pound and the dollar, again, because we are at very, very speculative price action levels in which can give a very big narrative, so to speak, on a higher time frame for a lot of these pairs. So we will see how it plays out fundamentally. Last week and the week before prior, everything worked out perfectly smooth, as we mentioned on the webinars, in accordance to the dollar index. So hopefully we do have a killing this week as well.
Cool. So if you guys like the webinars, you find us on YouTube, stumble across us any way you did, please go ahead and join the Discord. We do webinars weekly, we do live trading, we do, you name it, we give you a free bot, anything you want, right? Everything is basically free unless you want to play for the premium.
Right, right. We have the premium membership as well as the broker options.
So the link's in the description there. And well, I guess we'll see you next time.